Hi, friend. Do you struggle with filling your classes? Because if you are like any other yoga teacher that I work with, this is a struggle for you. And I get it because sometimes you're thrown into a yoga studio class that you were the sub and then you became the teacher of that class. And so it's not like you came up with the class, you're just there and you're trying to fill that class because it's on your schedule. So maybe you have this as a passion, meaning that particular class, but maybe not. But either way, you're looking to fill that class. And in this episode, I'm actually going to share a recording of a live training that I did on this very topic because I get this question all the time. Amanda, how do I get more students in my class? So whether or not you have a true passion for the specific class that you're talking about and have in your head right now, I want you to know that you can still fill that class. I want you to have packed classes no matter what that number is. So if the packed class is 3 people or 30 people or 300 people, it doesn't matter what the number is. What I want for you to have is a full class. So in this replay of a free training, I walk through the 3 steps to fill your class. And yes, this could be anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be a class, but you could use this method to fill a workshop. You could use this method to fill any yoga offering that you have. These are the basic 3 steps to market any type of an offer. But in the example, I'm talking about a specific class. But before I share the replay of the live training, I want to welcome you to this podcast. I'm your host, Amanda McKinnon, and the Marketing Yoga with Confidence podcast is something that I wanted to create so I could help you market your yoga, whatever that is. So each and every week, I come to you with another marketing tip, and I promise to give you the inspiration and understanding of the why of how this thing in particular will help you fill your classes or whatever the case may be, but also give you the encouragement that you need in identifying your next step. So in this particular episode, we will be talking about filling your classes. So you will absolutely know your next steps in order to do that. And this episode is brought to you by the free training replay that I'm sharing with you today. But I want you to get the workbook that goes along with this training. And you can find that at my website at marketingyogawithconfidence.com/learn. And trust me, you want the workbook. So make sure to go to the website, download that free PDF, and watch the entire thing. Because in this episode, you're just getting a little piece of the free training. I actually answered a lot of questions at the very end of this, which are not included in this episode. So make sure to watch the free training replay and get that workbook. But for now, let's dive in so you can get the sneak peek of this free training. Hi, friends. I'm so excited you're here today. We are talking about filling your classes. And I see there are a few people here talking about the weather. So I love it. Welcome, Kristen and Tam. I'm so glad you're both here today. And I've got a little bit of sun coming through the window today, which I'm very excited about, but it is cold. It is cold for me, at least. My Florida blood, in Oklahoma, I'm still getting used to it. It's so cold, but I'm really enjoying it. And hold me to it, I'm going to try and get outside today and take a walk. So hopefully if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see a story later of me getting outside because I got outside for like 2 minutes yesterday. I didn't get outside for as long as I wanted to. So hopefully that works. Give me the thumbs up if you can hear me. I always like to check that audio, and we will go ahead and get started. So as usual, I will share the information and then at the end, there's time for questions. Okay, we're talking about how to fill your classes today, and I have 3 simple steps. So for this exercise, what I want you to think about is one class or offering. I'm going to talk about classes specifically today, but one class offering that you want to grow. So think about that one class, and I'm going to be talking about a lot of different things today, but I want you to really focus in on that one class. Don't put your entire business, your entire yoga business into a bucket that is going to stress you out in terms of like picking and choosing and doing all the things. We're talking about one class today. Deal? Hopefully you're with me. So what if the next time you showed up to your class, it was filled? And it was not only filled with people, but it was filled with the perfect person for that class. And just to be clear, filled can mean 4 people, 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people. Whatever filled is for that particular class, that is what we're focused on today. So I would love to know what a filled class is for you. So put in the chat what, you don't have to list the class if you don't want to, but you certainly can. Tell me what class you're thinking about and what filled means to you. How many people does that mean? This will allow you to start getting really clear in your head with what filled means. And again, I want you to remember that filled can mean anything. There's no right or wrong answer here. Your space might only hold 4 people, and that's filled, right? Or it could hold 40, or it could hold 100, but 10 is your optimal number. So tell me what filled means to you and your specific class. And again, this is easier than you think, but we're going to go through those 3 steps, so I've got you covered. And as always, this training is for you because I understand where you are in the terms of it feels icky to market ourselves as yoga teachers, but we want to get to that place that feels much more comfortable. So that's what we're going to be talking about. And I work with yoga teachers all the time. Every day of my business is focused only on yoga teachers. So I know that you love witnessing the transformation of your students, which happens in a filled class, right? When they show up to class, you witness that transformation. I know you love teaching, but I also know that marketing yourself as a yoga teacher is not awesome all the time. That feeling that it doesn't feel like it's natural and you're not sure how to do it. Like, I get it. I totally understand. And I want you to know I'm here for you. And these 3 simple steps are going to be super helpful in your business. After this training, you are going to know the 3 steps. So these 3 steps are going to help you take the steps to get your class filled. And yes, you can use this for any other thing. So whether you're trying to fill a workshop or any other yoga offering, you can use these same 3 steps. But again, we're talking about classes today. And the reason that it works for so many things and you're going to be able to walk away and take action is because you're going to understand the why behind this process. Because when I work with yoga teachers, I know that if I share the why, you will be able to take the action easier because you'll understand why it works to do something in this way. And then you can tweak it to be your own. So as I always say, I'm going to share these 3 steps that I want you to take and give you the understanding of why these 3 steps are what will help you. But this is the baseline foundation. You get to tweak the process and make it your own. So making sure that you know that, like, I'm just giving you some information and then you can tweak it and make it your own. And then you will be taking action because the steps are really simple. So you're going to be able to take action today. So if we haven't met yet, then I want to introduce myself to you. And I am Amanda McKinnon, and I am the founder of Marketing Yoga with Confidence, which is a podcast and an online membership for yoga teachers. And that's just one hat that I wear. I'm also a wife and a stepmom and a dog mom. And as always, they are right here. So if you hear them, that will be really funny because they like to make an appearance usually when I go live. So the 2 dogs are in the room and everyone else is out of the house though. So it's just me and the dogs today. But I'm also a yoga teacher. I did go to yoga teacher training and learned more about you and about yoga, of course. So I don't actively teach, but I am a certified yoga teacher. And I, like I said at the beginning, a Floridian living in Oklahoma. So I'm cold most of the time. You know, the summer is really hot, but I can handle that. And I love sharing yoga tips or marketing tips for yoga teachers that are easy to implement. And I always like to give the permission to just take a little bit at a time. There's people here. Hi, Tracy. Oh, I saw your name pop up. And these wonderful yoga teachers who are here with me live right now are in the membership, so they can attest to the fact that there's a lot of ways to market your business. But I say pick one, focus in on that, and take that the next steps with that particular way. And then once you learn that, you can do another thing and another thing. But take it at your own pace. Push yourself a little bit, but one step at a time. So I like those easy to implement, simple things that you can take one step at a time. But before we go into the 3 super simple steps, I want you to make a promise to me, because if you make a promise to me, you're more likely to keep it. But I really want you to make it to yourself and not break that promise to yourself. And so the commitments that I want you to make is that you're open to the idea of a dream student. Now, I want you to be open to this idea for your entire business. But for this exercise today, I want you to commit to understanding and the idea that a dream student for a particular class is a great thing, because not every class is for every person. Yoga is for everyone, but not every class. So being open to that idea is really important for these 3 steps. And then understanding that this is going to be a process just like anything else in life. It's not going to happen fast, but it will happen if you consistently put in the work. And then please just pick one yoga class and start there. Don't try to tackle every class that you have at this point. You can follow this method and fill every class that you have. But what I want you to do is pick one today. So those are the commitments I want you to make today, and I'm excited for you to do that. So again, in the chat, let me know if you're committed. You're committed to picking one class. Some of you have already said what that class is, which is amazing. So I want you to commit to the one class, being open to the idea of a dream student to that class, and knowing that it will be a process. So we're diving in. Get that PDF ready. If you haven't downloaded the PDF for this training, make sure you do it. There's a green button, and you probably received it in your email as well. So make sure you've got that PDF open and you're looking at it. And step number 1 is knowing your dream student. So again, this is for that one class you're focused on, right? I want you to think about that one class and who is perfect, who is absolutely perfect for that class. Let me see. Did anyone name their class over here? Tam says Monday, stretch it out, 10 people consistently. So Tam, I love it. So a class that's related to stretching is not going to be for everyone, right? But who is perfect for that stretching class on Monday? So I want you to really think about who that is. And I have some examples here that make it really clear. Some things get a little fuzzy, but these are clear. So I want you to really think about how you can apply this method to your specific class. So prenatal classes are not for people who aren't pregnant, right? That's not a prenatal class. There are different classes for people who aren't pregnant, but not prenatal. And then with runner's yoga, right? What an amazing thing. So Tam, like stretching is great for runner's yoga. So do you want some runners in that class? Are you a runner? That is something you might be able to speak to very consistently and specifically. But runner's yoga is not perfect for someone who's not a runner, right? I don't actively run anymore. I used to run. I don't anymore. That's not part of my routine. And so I wouldn't go to a runner's yoga class. Even though it's amazing, it's not for me anymore. Power yoga class. Some people might argue with me on this one, but I don't think a power class, a fast-paced power class, is great for people who have just injured their knees or one knee, right? I don't think a doctor is going to say that is what you should do. Now, eventually, I hope everyone is able to get back to the power yoga class that they love if they have hurt themselves in some way, but it's not perfect for that person. Who it's perfect for is someone who needs to pump out some energy at the end of the day before they go home, right? In between work and home, and they love that power class. Or some people love to get started their day, like a morning power class. So these are what you have to think about. Restorative yoga, not good for kids. Let's be serious. I don't know what kids would go to a restorative class and handle that very well. So maybe I'm wrong on that one, but I don't think I am. I don't know very many kids that would handle that super well. So thinking about your class and who the perfect person is for that particular class. And so these questions will help. And this is, again, in the PDF. And in the PDF, the step for step number 1, the action you're going to take is writing as much as you can about the dream student for this class. So something you can ask yourself, a lot of people will come to me and say, well, I don't know who's the perfect person, right? Like you may know right away or you may not know. Sometimes they're a little fuzzy, right? So what I want you to think about is who shows up to that class consistently? Who is the person that is raving about that class and telling other people? Now, I don't want anyone to be confused with the idea of they're inviting people and people are showing up. That's not what you're looking for. I mean, that's great, right? You want the person to be inviting people and people to actually show up. But even if the person is inviting people and they're not showing up, they are finding value in the class and they're trying to tell other people. They're probably telling the wrong people, right? Like that person is just talking to their sister or their brother, their husband, their whatever, whoever is in close proximity to them that might not be perfect for that class. So don't get discouraged if the person is inviting people and they're not showing up. What you want to do is see who is consistently showing up. Because if they are consistently showing up, that is the perfect person for that class. That is the person who is gaining value from that particular class. So a lot of other questions will help you dive a little bit deeper into knowing about that person. Questions like, how does that student feel before and after class? That's going to talk about that transformation. We're going to talk about words in a little bit, and this is where it helps. Understanding how they feel at the beginning when they walk in and how they feel at the end when they walk out. Those are the words that will help you figure out that transformation. And what about, does that person have any limitations? So a lot of this, the ideas that usually come to my mind are pain, right? Does someone have back pain? And so they're coming to a class to try and relieve that back pain because maybe their doctor suggested it. Maybe a friend suggested it. Are they dealing with that? Or is there any other limitation or medical or otherwise that they have that you need to take into consideration or that makes them perfect for your class? And this is a big one that doesn't really make sense right now, but it will later. And it's the idea of what is this person, this dream student for this class, doing during their day? What does their typical day look like? And the reason that it doesn't really make sense with why would I be talking about that, Amanda, right now, this goes into play when you think about scheduling a class. Now, I know some of you are teaching this class, it's in a studio, you didn't pick the time, I get you. But let's say you do get to pick the time, or you have some pull in being able to say, oh, we should probably offer this at a different time. This is when that comes into play. Because there's a lot of yoga teachers that I'll work with that'll say, my class isn't filled. And I'll say, what type of class is it? Well, tell me the class, who's the perfect person for that class. And then lo and behold, we find out that that class is being held at a time that the dream person can't show up. They have other obligations, work, kids, other things in life that they cannot show up to the class. So your class could be amazing, but no one's showing up because they physically can't get there at that time. So it's important to recognize, because I think a lot of times we go into this mode of people aren't showing up because I'm not a good teacher. People aren't showing up because whatever the case may be. It's usually not that. Sometimes it's the schedule. They just can't. They can't. So it has nothing to do with you as a teacher. So I just want you to remember that. So in the workbook, I want you to write down as many things as you can about that dream student, because that is going to help you get that person into class. And remember, this is an evolution that you can focus on one offering like we're doing today and tackle one class at a time. The idea of a dream student for your entire business, right? The idea of niching down is something I want you to consider for sure, because it makes a big difference in your business, but it's an evolution. So start with one class. What is the one class that you want to grow right now? And don't feel so stuck. But I want you to keep thinking, the more I know about the dream student for a class, the easier it gets filled. So, oh gosh, what if I did that for my whole business? And there's where it is. The more you can focus in, the more you know about your person, and the more you can actually market to them and invite them to whatever your yoga offering is. Step number 2 is knowing your marketing channels. So once you know the person, once you know, okay, this is the class I'm going to teach or that I'm trying to grow, this is the perfect person for that class. Then you can think, okay, how do I invite them to the party? And the best way to invite people to the party is where they already spend time. And I have a very easy way for you to pick channels, because in this moment, I know that there are so many things that you could choose to market your yoga offering. But what I want you to do is pick 2. And I want you to pick one that's online and one that's offline. And yes, I said offline because almost automatically, when I use the word marketing, most people, not just yoga teachers, but everyone thinks social media. But what I want you to hear is that marketing does not equal social media. Marketing is so much more than social media. Social media is important and it absolutely will help you, but we can't stop marketing right there. You cannot rely on Facebook and Instagram to fill your classes. So I do want you to pick one online. It is important. It's part of the tools in your tool belt, but I need you to have another thing too. So one online and one offline. So how you're choosing these channels is also easy, right? But it can feel overwhelming. So I don't want to let you think that I think it's the easiest thing in the world. It's simple, not easy. So what we need to do is think about that dream student for that class. Who is the best person for that class, and where are they already hanging out? Where are they spending time online and offline already? And that's how you're going to figure out how to pick those channels. So specifically for online, and in the workbook, you'll be identifying those 2 channels. So I want you to make sure to get that, be writing in it right now. If you don't already have it, or if you already have it, you can go ahead and start writing and think about a whole list, right? Where does this person spend time online? There's probably a list of places, right? They probably spend time on Facebook, maybe Instagram. If they're of the younger generation, maybe they're on Snapchat. There are so many places. Maybe they're on LinkedIn. Maybe they're using some online forums of some sort. Maybe they read a lot of articles. You know, the list can go on and on about where someone hangs out online. But what I want you to think about is, of that list, where are you the most comfortable? Because there's a lot to learn about marketing. I'm not going to belittle that at all. There's a lot you can learn, but we have to start where we are. Just like we meet our students on the mat and say, I will meet you where you are today. You don't need to be anywhere different. I want you to do the same thing for yourself when it comes to marketing. If you are more interested in Facebook than you are in Instagram, start on Facebook. Don't tell yourself that you have to learn Instagram, because you just wrote down that your dream student is on both of them. So just pick one. Deal? So find that middle ground and find the thing that you're going to use. And then offline, same process of thinking about where that person hangs out. So let's say that your dream student is a very busy mom, right? And you want to connect with her. So think about where she spends time. You just said she's busy. So she's probably in the car. She's probably driving a lot, dropping off kids, going to the grocery store. She probably goes shopping in different capacities. So whether it's a boutique, the grocery store, running errands in different places, like where are those places that she goes locally and visits on a regular basis? Not just every now and then, but a regular basis. And when you really start thinking about that, then I understand this is where you can get uncomfortable. However, I need you to push through the discomfort here, because word of mouth is the number one source of students. Point blank, social media is not going to be number one. It is going to be word of mouth. There's not a yoga teacher that I know that will debate me on this, because when they really think about how people are joined in their classes or their private sessions, it comes down to so-and-so told so-and-so, and then she showed up in class, right? These are the stories that you have. So word of mouth is super important. So I need you to push through the discomfort, because I need you to talk to people. And I totally get it. There's a lot of us out there that are introverts, and I get that. But do you want your yoga business to grow? And if the answer is yes to that, you have to push through a little bit to make this work. You don't have to do this every day. You don't have to do this all the time, but you do have to do it every now and then and put in the effort. So I need you to go to those places. Is it a coffee shop? Is it a boutique? Is it a grocery store? What types of places does he or she go to on a regular basis? Are they part of a PTA group? Because that, back to that busy mom, then talk to the PTA president. I think it's called president. Talk to the group head and say, hey, can I offer you this thing? Can you share this with your group? And how you approach this person is going to be different based on each individual business. So let's say it's a coffee shop, and I want you to go and spend time at that coffee shop. Observe. And this is a process. Remember, it's not going to happen overnight. You're going to go and you're going to observe and see how people interact in that space. Once you've got that, then you can even start going there. You start working there every now and then. If you go somewhere else and you know that your dream student goes to this one particular coffee spot, go spend your money there, see what's happening. You will start to see how people use the space, and you'll start to see some regulars, right? You'll probably know the barista. You'll know the people that can connect with you. Then you can talk to the person. Now you can go in on day number 1 and say, hey, I would love to meet the manager or the owner of this place today. You never know. That may be great. Treat them to coffee. They'll probably give it to you. But, make sure you have your business card with you and you've got some talking points of what you would like to do. And I want you to just be creative and think about how you could interact and help them. And that's important too. You are not walking in asking for a handout when you are meeting with these business owners. What you're doing is saying, hey, you're looking for people, I'm looking for people, and we're looking for the same people. So let's find a way that we can help each other. Because if you can help me get more people in my class, I can then help the people that are already in my class come to your space too, because it's the same audience. So remember that when you walk in, so many people think that, oh, I'm asking for this, like it's going to be uncomfortable. No, you are helping them too. Because remember, if the person is going to their location and that's your dream student, it's theirs too, right? Like you're trying to reach the same people. Now, not every business is going to be ready to collaborate. Most will, though, especially local businesses. Most will. This is much easier in person than it is online. So push through that discomfort. Go talk to someone. Okay, I need some interaction. Who's going to go talk to someone this week? Maybe you can't do it today. And I'm giving you the out on this, because usually I say you have to do it today. But who will talk to someone this week? I want you to raise your hand, put the emoji in the chat, and tell me who. You don't have to name the business if you don't want to, but I want you to say, I want you to collaborate with someone. And I see someone, hi, Suzanne, saying that it's cold. So cold is an excuse. I'm going to get out today too. But if it's a blizzard, you've got an out in terms of getting out and talking to someone. But what could you do? Don't let that stop you. Can you make a phone call? Can you send an email? These are ways that we can still connect with people, even if there's some barriers in our way. Now, there's nothing like going in person. So you won't get the quickest response, but when you go in person, you're able to do a lot. Okay, so we're moving on to step number 3. Step number 3 is knowing your message. So if there's anything that I know about marketing, it's that words are hard. And I say this often because it's so true. Most yoga teachers are very excited to welcome people into their class, But then I get the phrase, but Amanda, I don't know what to say. And I get it. Trust me, trust me, trust me. I was trying to reach you, Remember, like I have shared this story so many times. I didn't start out only working with yoga teachers. But when I made that shift, I was trying to reach you and I didn't know what words to say. So I've been in your boat. And here's the thing, it gets easier. The more that you interact with your dream student, the easier this gets. Now, remember, we're focused on one class right now. So all you're thinking about is the dream person for one class. So remember that you're thinking about that. Think about that person and what you already know about them. You already wrote a lot of things because of step number 1. Now, how can you know even more? How can you talk to that person? And I want you to get really creative with this. And I don't want you to fall into the trap of when I say, I want you to talk to your people, and I give the example of I talk to yoga teachers all the time. You then go and look at my Facebook group and see, Amanda, you have several hundred people in there. It's easy for you to say because you have connections with that many people. Back that train up and remember that I had to start at 0, just like you. And at that point, I said, okay, how can I talk to yoga teachers? And I did not let myself off the hook. And you're not allowed to either. Who is that person? Who is that person and how can you talk to them? Is it your sister? Then I want you to call her. Is it your best friend's uncle? Call him. Figure out how to get connected. You can do this. The power is in your hands when you can talk to 5 people. I want you to commit to talking to 5 people that are your dream student, whether or not they're in your class. Now, if they're already in your class, you've got an in. You can talk to them after class. You're not going to take up so much of their time. I know you're trying to get out of there, but you can ask a few questions or just listen to their words and learn so much. Because what I want you to remember is how do they describe your class? Let's say you've got some people that are coming to your class consistently. I want you to ask them how they describe your class. I know that sounds silly, but they're going to be so excited. Imagine if your favorite yoga teacher asked you a question afterwards and said, how do you describe this class to other people? You would tell them. You would be so excited that they wanted your opinion. You would absolutely tell them. Then all you have to do is listen. And then I want you to write notes after you get back in your car and say, they said this. Do a voice recording. I do that all the time. I'll be talking to a yoga teacher. I'll bump into one, out running errands or whatever, and something they'll come up and say something that'll ring a bell with me, and I'll get back in my car or I'll walk to the corner of the store or whatever and take a voice recording of what they said so I can remember it. So I don't leave it to chance because this memory, no way. So I have to write it down or I have to do a voice recording. So that's what I want you to do. And if you don't have anyone in the class that you can ask this question to, then I want you to think about that perfect person and who you know that is that perfect person or who can connect you. And I want you to talk to 5 people. And then I want you to just talk to them about and ask about what they could get help with, right? Like I'm trying to think of an example without having a specific class, but you know your class. And what do you think your class offers to the person? So that's kind of the topic you would want to take and learn about that person. You want to know their struggles. Obviously, they will share the struggles that they want to share in conversations. And so you're not going to ask, what are your struggles? That would be a weird question to ask. But what you could talk to is just have a conversation and ask about what they do during the day. And I know these seem scary, right? Because you're like, Amanda, you're telling me to talk to a stranger and I don't know these people. The easiest way, let's say you don't know anyone personally and you need to be connected. So you need to talk to 5 people and you have someone that is connected to someone else that you want to talk to. So I want you to call up your friend and say, hey, I have this class that is amazing for new moms or for guys that sit at a desk all day or people that sit at a desk all day. It doesn't have to be gender specific. and you say, but I'm having trouble getting people to sign up for the class. So I want to talk to people that are perfect for the class. And number one, I'll invite them to the class, but really, I just want to find out how yoga could help them, how I could help them in this situation. That person's going to say, okay, I know Sally, Joe, and Jessica, right? You're going to talk to those three people, and then they're already primed for the conversation. Their friend who has done the connecting has already done the priming for you. So you get on the phone call, you say, thank you so much for taking this time. I'm just going to take 5 minutes of your time, and I've got this class. Let me describe it to you and tell me what questions you have about the class, or if it's of interest to you. And say, of course, I would love for you to join me in the class, but it's okay if you can't. I'm not trying to sell you on the class. I'm just trying to get your feedback. Okay, great. So you describe the class, and then I want you to take note. What questions do they ask, or how do they then describe the class to you? Because they will start to say, oh, okay, so your class would, there's the magic word, right? Your class would do this. And that's when I would want you to make sure that you're paying attention to those words they are using, so that you can then use all of these words to then market your class. Does that make sense? So you're gathering all of this information, and then you will have your marketing messaging. So when you want to invite someone to the class, I want you to use the words that your student said when she or he described the class. Or I want you to describe the class in a way that would hit on one of those struggling pain points that person is dealing with right now. So that is what I want you to take with you for the messaging. In the PDF workbook, there's an exercise of you to brainstorm 10 topics. So very specifically, it goes into, you can just do this right now, not talking to anyone. But of course, once you talk to people, you can do this again and again and again. So it's a repeatable process for sure. And remember that clear is better than clever. If you are like me, you want something to be clever, catchy, funny, to get people's attention. But I promise you, the last thing you want to do is confuse them. So clear is better than clever when it comes to your words. Then you've got the 3 steps. Then you have to show up and do the work. So this is when you take those online and offline options for your marketing channels, and you do something with those channels every single week, multiple times a week if you're looking at the online component. The offline you might not do as much with every single week, but I want you to be making connections. I want you to talk to people. I want you to really start understanding your person. Because the more you can do that, the easier it is to get them into your class and share the amazing yoga that you have in your back pocket. I know, because you're an amazing yoga teacher, that your classes will be and are incredible. So you're doing people a disservice by not inviting them to the party. So you have to show up, invite them to the party, and not give up. Remember that it is a process, that you will continue to learn throughout this process, and that it'll just get better and better. But you have to start today, or it won't get better and better. You will continue to feel stuck, and you will continue to feel overwhelmed. But I promise if you start today, it won't be as scary. So and of course, I know you can do this. Obviously, I know that you can do this. And if you feel stuck, just know that I do have opportunities to talk with me on 1-hour strategy sessions. These can be booked anytime. I have the calls on Wednesdays, and you can book them anytime. You don't have to be in the membership. This is something that you are available to jump on my calendar whenever there's free time if you feel stuck. I promise in 1 hour, we can talk about that dream student for that class and talk about how you could connect with them and invite them to the party. And in the meantime, I want you to connect with me. So make sure you're asking questions right now, because we're wrapping this up and I've got about 20 minutes to answer questions. And as you're doing that, I want to make sure that we stay connected on Instagram. So my handle is Amanda McKinney Yoga. I have the podcast, like I mentioned, and I have a group on Facebook where you can ask questions along the way. It's a completely free group. and it's called Marketing Yoga with Confidence. So I hope we stay connected. I'm looking forward to staying connected with you on all of these different platforms, and I can't wait to answer your questions. So, what do you think? I hope very much that you gained the clarity on how to invite more people to the party, to your specific yoga offering, and in particular, that specific class you thought about while you're listening to that. And I want you to have the clarity of understanding those 3 steps. So your next step after listening to this is to go to my website, download that free worksheet, and listen and watch the entire replay of the training. You'll hear the questions that were asked at the end, and I promise that PDF will help you walk through those 3 steps. So make sure to go to marketingyogawithconfidence.com/learn so you can get instant access to that free training. And until next time, give yourself permission to keep it super simple and grace along the way. Talk to you soon.